This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories, and welcome to my review of Legacy of the Force Fury. And this is book 7 of 9, and I finished a lot of these books in the last month. I really didn't expect me to get through 4 of them, but this is one I can talk about with the most amount of, confidence of not mixing anything up because, unlike the ones I did last week, I didn't have like three to think of at the same time. So, yeah, honestly, just going into this one, it's just another really exciting novel. This one focuses on, again, a bunch of different storylines, and it does jump around a little bit where we have some stuff with Jaina, Jag, and Zeke going after Alma and finally managing to kill her. And that's really nice solid. The one Sith, at least I'm pretty sure it is the one Sith because they technically don't say who it is. Although the only other Sith groups I can think of is that and the Lost Tribe, and since the Lost Tribe hasn't been created yet at this point, and well, also just the fact that they're stranded on the planet and don't get off until Fate of the Jedi, it has to be the one Sith, and everything with them was interesting as they're going to also try to kill Elma and get rid of everything she has, but they are largely successful. They set the bombs, but it is Jagged Fell who manages to go and kill her. The storyline there is pretty solid, and then we're able to wrap up her storyline and be able to focus everything on taking on Jason. And at this point, everyone believes that Elm was the one who went and killed Mara, besides Ben, who just knows it had to be Jason. And then now, continuing through just some of the other storylines in this, there's just a lot of stuff going on. As I said, Han and Leia are kind of going throughout the galaxy, just trying to mainly Kashyyyk, trying to help out with the devastation that Jason caused in the previous book. And then when they need the information for where uh, where Lumaya's base is, they have to go infiltrate the Anakin Solo for the first time in the novel. They have to do it twice, and with this one, they go to infiltrate the ship while Leia distracts Jason, Han, Leia, and then the rest of that team is from earlier go, and they steal the nav computer from Jason's ship from the time. And while they're there, they go and actually make Jason able to sense that his life is in danger. He goes and takes Alana, who he kidnapped earlier in the story, to try and force her mother to side with him, since she went and betrayed him in the end of the previous novel. And through that, he went and had her, and causes a very interesting moment where there's misconceptions put on both sides, where he took Alana to protect her, and didn't know the Jedi going to strike against him, and he thinks that the Jedi are trying to kill both him and his daughter. On the other hand, there is a very simple fact that Luke goes and senses Alana not knowing who she is at the time and thinks that Jason's just using her as a human shield. And if Alana wasn't there, Luke probably would have been able to go and finish Jason off in this fight. But instead, they had to go and retreat from that battle. Then early in the story, there is uh, attack placed on Jason by led by Kyle Katarn from the Jedi Knight games, and I think this is the first time I've really seen him used in any major way in anything that isn't those games. And well, I never actually finished Jedi Knight 2 or played Dark Forces. It's on my list. It's just so many other things, and I'll eventually get to finishing that game and playing Dark Forces and everything else. But with that, his storyline here was pretty interesting. As entire thing was just a ruse to get a tracking device on Jason, which is only discovered by accident. And just going through really the entire story was it was just a bunch of different, like different small storylines. Everything was it was just getting more and more intense since they reach that final mission where they need to go and realize that Center Point Station has been activated. It was used to try and kill Jason, but the shot ultimately failed because Jason was alerted by the Jedi coming, thinking that they were trying to assassinate him, and not knowing that it was to go in and steal that information. So that ultimately led to the retreat of him with Alana and ordering the Anakin Solo to get away. His entire fleet was destroyed there, and it was a pretty devastating defeat for them. But just continuing through it was still really interesting as Jason just continuing down his path to the dark side. And in this, there's also Luke who doesn't have too much of a role for most of it until towards the end, where Luke goes and is still being depressed by the events from Mara's death and not fully willing to take control of the Order. But, well, when Wedge points out that he's basically the leader of the third galactic government in the galaxy right now, of a group that's going to be going against both the Corellian Confederation and the Galactic Alliance, since both sides are just completely morally corrupt by leaders. It's honestly just pretty interesting. And whether it is, it's still really solidly done. Ben is able to go in and talk Luke down and tell him that he needs to take this responsibility and can't let himself want to die because of wanting to be with Mara, that she wouldn't have wanted that. Luke is able to take that to heart and goes and takes control of the Jedi forces to lead this final attack to not only go save Alana, but also try to take out Jason. And while that attack fails to try and kill Jason, they are able to successfully save Alana. And once Leia meets her, she immediately is able to figure out that she is her granddaughter before Alana's even able to confirm it, since the only reason Jason was able to keep her safe was, well, keep her with her was to tell her that he was her father. And when she reveals that to Leia, it's really only a surprise to Han because in the scene before, Leia's able to figure it out just by seeing how much she looks like Jason, and it's honestly just it was just just a really nice scene where she goes and introduces herself. Then there's a small little point in this where Lando goes and like scares everyone, where he reveals that his wife is pregnant, but the way he words it at the beginning makes everyone think something bad's gonna has happened to her. But ultimately, it is something good, and Lando's just like terrified in this, and Han's messing around with him. It was a nice little moment, and just going through really everything else. It's honestly just it's just super interesting. Jason fully becomes, or really Kitus fully becomes like Vader, going and executing a crew member for letting the stolen shuttle of Tycho True on the ship, even though there was nothing to indicate that there was any enemies on the ship. He executes the officer for what turns out to have been a mistake, but something that she couldn't have known of. And everything with Tycho and Silent Hills is really interesting, where they really don't like what the Alliance is doing and realize it'd be problematic for Center Point Station to be taken by the Galactic Alliance or be kept by the Corellians, so they have to destroy it. But they still have their loyalties to the Alliance, and their honors says that they just can't go and betray the government. So while they do work on a node plan, they also have to go and reveal it to their superiors and try to stop it. It is honestly, it's just pretty interesting, and I think with the story is that it's a pretty intense one, but it was still a really well told with them. And going through some of the other stuff, honestly, everything in here was it was just a crazy amount of stuff going on. It was really setting him up for the last two books, and with this, Jag is able to go and knock some sense into Jaina, who is training so hard that she really isn't helping herself. She's just perfecting skills that aren't really going to help her, and she isn't really being a Jedi. She's just thinking in terms of, I need to go kill Oma and Jason. And honestly, it's a nice talk they have and helps pull Jaina back. And yeah, it's just also so many other great moments in this. This one does have the payoff where the Mandalorian gauntlets are taken and delivered to Han Solo, who this is basically like, yeah, I'm just gonna pass them along. Someone's gonna be able to use it, and it ultimately winds up with Jag. But with this, it's something that's skipped over the last book. As I said, I probably think that this is something that the author wanted in this one and asked Karen Traviss in the one where she's dealing with Boba Fett to go and add that in, and she did. So it was a it was a good little thing, and there's just so many great little moments throughout this series. I've really been enjoying it, and I think that's clear to the fact that, as I said, I finished four of these books within a month, and I'm expecting to most likely have finished the series by the end of this month, maybe into early next month, because the next book is pretty long. It's like 400 pages, so I'm gonna take a little longer, but considering it's been taking me like a week and a half to get through most of these, I'm considering that I'll probably be done by the end of May to at the latest mid-June. And I just honestly been loving the series. I can't wait to continue on, and I think they did just such a great job. But yeah, honestly, I want to know what you think. Please let me know in the comments because I've just been loving the series and love talking about it. I really can't wait to continue on. But again, let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.